Hey everybody, we are over 100 subscribers, and you can tell I am so excited. I'm so happy. I am super grateful. Thank you so much for choosing to support me on this journey where I will learn and grow together. Just be sure also to share with somebody else in your circle. You never know who will benefit from the word that we will share on this platform. It may not necessarily be a word for you, but it may be a word for somebody that you know. I would really appreciate it. Right, so often when we pray, we just have this assurance, like I know God is going to answer my prayer, and I know He hears me when I pray. But what's the why? How does God answer the prayer? I'm going to focus on just the one way that, one of the many ways that God answers our prayers. So there's a story of a man. He was stranded on his rooftop. This was during a flood. And I often picture him. He would have been singing and crying and yelling and screaming. And he prayed to God and he said, God, please save me. So a few minutes passed, and then a tiny boat approached him and they offered to rescue him. So he was just like, no, guys, you can row away. I am waiting for God to rescue me. Right. I find that very interesting. But again, he's waiting, probably getting cold, getting hungry, and the water levels, they are rising. And a speedboat came his way. Again, when they offered, he says, no, I'm okay. I'm waiting on God. You guys you can go along. And so the last rescue team that came, they were on a helicopter, and he again says, guys, you can actually just fly past me, go help other people that are waiting. I'm waiting on God. And so they left. Nobody was going to stick around and beg him to for them to rescue him. And it so happens that he drowned and somehow made it to heaven. Yep, he made it to heaven. When he got there, he's angry, he's frustrated, and he confronts God and he says, God, I had so much faith in you, but you did not save me. And you can imagine now God is like super, he's confused, he's surprised, and he says, but child, I sent a small boat, I sent a speedboat, I sent even a helicopter to rescue you. What more do you want? And I think that question just got me thinking, Michelle, what more do you want? Ask yourself, what more do you want? And the one thing that I just realized was that we don't get answers that just come in a lightning bolt from heaven and drop in our lap. No, often God uses the natural things around us, and one way He uses people to answer our prayers. It reminds me so much of a time when I was starting off my internship. So as a person who's not originally from this country, when you got a job offer, you weren't too picky because they didn't come, not many offers would come your way anyways. So whatever offer you got, you would grab it with both hands and you would run with it. So my offer was from a town that I'd never been to, didn't know nobody in that place, and the two main languages of the land, just the thought of it was so intimidating. But I was just like, you know what, we're going to go. And I remember praying and I was like, God, prepare the way. Where I'm going, I don't know the place. Handpick the place that I'm supposed to stay. Handpick the people that are supposed to be around me. Handpick the church that I'm supposed to go and be a part of. And so all these things, it would sound like it was just a generic prayer, which I agree. It was just like a normal prayer, nothing wow about that prayer. And I went through the listings of the rental places that were there. Remember now, I'm just starting off. I don't have anything to my name. and I was looking for a furnished place. So all I would have was just my clothing items and maybe just a few rands to start off with. And there's one particular place that jumped from the screen, came alive, and I was just like, wow, okay, I can picture myself staying here for the next 12 months. I reached out to the person who had put that listing. They were quick to respond. Long story short, I had booked the place, so it was just going to be me. I just had to start paying rent. Made the plans. So my travel arrangement was, I was arriving there around midnight. It's a place that you don't know, and this lady had said she was going to wait for me at the local bus terminal, and yeah, we'll take it from there. And so, yeah, I didn't really have a delightful journey, because now you're scared you're going to miss your stop, and then you always are aware of your surroundings. You don't even trust the person that's sitting next to you on such a long journey. But I did ask the person to advise me once we arrived in Bloemfontein. And yeah, so you would sleep with one eye open, checking, okay, where are we now? How many more kilometers? And then you try and estimate, okay, maybe I can just sleep another 5 minutes. Fast forward, I arrived in Bloemfontein, and she had told me she was driving a red bakkie. And I got off the bus with my bags, and I see this lady. It was a very cold night, and she's layered in thick jackets. I was even underdressed and trembling and so cold and hungry too. And so as I walked towards her, she was coming my way with her arms open wide. I haven't met this person. And then she gave me the biggest hug. I was like, oh wow, okay. I was still a bit skeptical. But anyways, we got to the place and my mind was blown away. I was like, okay, I chose this place randomly and it's perfect. So just that transition from the cold into the warmth, I felt at home instantly. She showed me my room, fresh, clean, crisp linen. There were extra throws on the bed, showed me my portion of the pantry, the cutlery, the kitchen utensils that were just reserved for me. And she had DSTV fully paid for, and I had access to it. So DSTV would be the equivalent of cable, I think. But yeah, what I found to be just so mind-blowing was all that anxiety that I had just melted away the minute I walked into this woman's house. And she literally made it clear that whatever you need, I am here for you. I appreciate the furnished house, the food, the utensils, and just her presence, even just that transportation that she had offered. But for me, in those 12 months, I feel God had handpicked her for a major event that happened later in that year that changed my life. I'm going to share it in future videos. I'll get into greater depths, but she had to be there when I received this bad news. This woman literally jumped into my bed, put her arms around me, and took because my body was shuddering, my body was in tremors, it was as though it was like blow after blow, and she was the shock absorber. If nobody was there on that day, I promise you, I really wouldn't have survived that. I wouldn't have. And so, for some reason, we've lost touch, and I hope that our paths will cross and I can tell her now how much I appreciate her. Because I don't think I actually didn't have the opportunity to tell her how grateful I was for her to have been used in that capacity, because then she made further arrangements that needed to be made. So had I been alone, had I not asked God to take care of me, to choose people to plant along that route, I don't know what would have what would have happened in that difficult year for me. And so I just feel now that despite everything that happens when we pray, there's two aspects. You're the one who's praying. Don't be stubborn when help comes. Don't be proud when help comes, because then say you asked for a financial breakthrough and then somebody just comes and offers you money, and then you're like, I don't know if it's humility or you're just embarrassed to accept financial help. You're like, oh no, I'm okay. No, receive. That is a blessing from God that God is giving you through that person. Receive it. Gladly receive it. And also, if you are on the other side, I've realized that God prompts us. He just gives you these promptings. You're minding your own business and suddenly God drops a Hillary in your spirit and your thoughts. You just suddenly think of Hillary. I wonder if Hillary is okay. Reach out to Hillary. Phone Hillary. Find out if Hillary is doing okay. Maybe that's all they need. That's what they need. Just a phone call. And sometimes just pray for Hillary, because maybe they just need that prayer in that moment. You have no idea what it's like to meet somebody's need. Number one, it will make you feel good on the inside, but just also think that they're gonna walk away and remember you, like the way I'm just recalling this woman and the way that I feel when I just remember that she was there for me when I needed her. She was an answer to my prayer. It is a big blessing to meet somebody's need. So as you go by in this new week, just be more attentive. Listen to God's promptings. Be ready, be available to answer somebody's prayer. Until next time, thank you so much for joining me today. Cheers. Bye.